Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle video tutorial on Photoshop custom shapes and image modes. Image modes are like RGB, Lab, Bitmap, Grayscale and all those sort of things. You can see them there. Now in the past, you could always only access them via image, mode and go through these options here. Now with properties, you can do them via here as well. Probably quicker actually do it over here in modes. Now, what you can do, window and properties. Now I'm going to be using pixels all the way through this, but you can use shape, of course. But shape, there's some modes you can't use. Some, just like bitmap and things, it will just not allow you to use these shapes. But you can use, now I don't know about path, I'm certain paths can be used in quite a few as well. But I'm going to do, for this, pixels. And I'm also going to go with normal. You'll notice when you go from different bitmap modes, or modes, to like CMYK, etc., there will be some of the different modes that are just not available. Some are very few, you've got 3 or 4 or something. So I'm just going to run through. And also sometimes you have to go through weird paths to get to them as well. So RGB, let's go for RGB, that's my start point, but of course you may be from CMYK, RGB, and then you can do, say, like 32-bit, you can do 16-bit of course as well. But you've got more colours when you go up with 32 bits, and you can apply your custom shape there. And you can tweak the colour, and you can see range colour. Weirdly, you can see through there. Always find that slightly disconcerting, to be honest, but let's do that. That transparency. So you can apply those. Or what you can also do, you can always go back to 8-bit. And when you do, you get this option for HDR toning. And you've got various options here, which you can monochrastic, and surreal, and so and so. Once you go back, click, you're okay, you've gone back to RGB. Now, if you go to RGB, you can go to index color. That will set you up there. And again, you can still continue to add that. Obviously, the color range will be limited to 56 colors. But you can also go back to RGB. And now, for some weird reason, I've it's going to paint a layer. Let's paint that, a layer. Now we're back to RGB and 8-bit channel. What you can do, you can go to Grayscale, and you see when you go to Grayscale, you get Grayscale, weirdly. Now, there's no control over that, so you might, like, before you go into it, it's always probably maybe best to go to image and do some adjustments in black and white to get the best black and white, and then go to Grayscale, if that's what you want. Why it isn't called Grayscale, I do not know. However, you've got Grayscale. In Grayscale, you've still got 32 bits, so you can actually push the thing, click on there, and you can got slightly more range, obviously. Pixels. That's what I want. So I've changed the tool. Now, you've got much bigger range, obviously, of the Grayscale you can use when you're in 32-bit. Sometimes when you leave these different modes, it suddenly puts you back into a different state, which is always slightly disconcerting. Again, you've got there, and yeah, still custom shape. So Grayscale, 8 bits. What you can do from Grayscale, you can go to Bitmap or you can go to duotone. So if you want to, let's go to duotone first. Duotone's pretty cool. And you've got a whole range of different ones. You've got custom there. You've got a different load of presets. Let's just go for a preset. Makes it easier. And then you go to green, click OK. And you can see then you've got your green. Now, when you add your custom shapes, you can see they're always just added as green. That's it. Even if you go and select blue. Slightly confusing. I've always thought that confusing. I think that should actually change to reflect it, but however, it doesn't. And then you can see green again. Again, blending modes, you'll notice that some, like darker colour, lighter colour, are removed. Now, let's go back there. Which is weird. I wonder why it does that. That's so weird. I was on custom shape tool. When I was in pixel mode, I was on a layer. And yet, properties suddenly didn't have that. Okay, very confusing. There are odd quirks. I've actually run through some of these things. I've been doing some tests, and I've ended up with colour in the Grayscale with different combinations of these channels. I've been going backwards and forwards between them. I ended up with colour in the Grayscale, which was really weird. I was thinking, not certain that's supposed to do that, but it did it. Right, now let's go to another one, which is Bitmap. And Bitmap, for me, is the best one with shapes. So you've got these options, and you've got halftone there. You've also got custom pattern. I'm going to show you both. What do you mean custom pattern? You can use your patterns. You've got a whole load of patterns. You can just select one of those. So you can select a pattern there and just use it. And then it's applied. And you can see what happens. You end up modifying the image. Your pattern is added into there. I'm just going to undo that. Again, go back. Again, go to Bitmap. Unfortunately, the one thing it doesn't allow with custom pattern, it'd be lovely if it lets you have the option for scale and angle. Now that would be brilliant. Because obviously custom pattern, all you've got is the choice of pattern. So say diamond or something. But you can't change the scale or angle, which would be nice. But anyway, you can apply that and you can see the diamond design applied there. However, when you start applying custom shapes, you notice the colour range is a bit limited. You know, you can see you've got blue there. Obviously, it's just going to be black. It's not very original in that. That's what it is, bitmap mode. But it's just a bit odd. There's certain odd quirks that I think that However, unfortunately, one thing you can't do once you're in bitmap mode, anything you apply doesn't have the pattern, but also you can't go to another bitmap mode. So you have to go back to Grayscale, so Grayscale, then have to go back to bitmap if you want to change it, and you get this thing again. Now, because this time I want to do half-tone screen. That's the only reason I'm going back to it, because I think that's quite nice. You can set the output, you can reduce it down. Don't have to go with 300, you could just vary it. Click OK, and then unfortunately there's no preview. So you're replaying so you look at it and think, well, you know what, 135, you just have to know that the angle or number of lines, say you can put six lines per inch. So it's a bit of trial and error. So you might have to go back to it, forward and back. You can load some save presets if you want. I'm just going to go click there, and it actually looks like hardly anything changed at all, to be honest. Let's try it again. I always like to see if it's odd when something doesn't work, and then you think, like I say, this is one of the things I've noticed some real odd quirks. So go for line, let's go for ellipse. And 2. Let's go for frequency of 2, obviously very small, and angle function. I think that's a bug. Anyway, let's get off that, otherwise we'll never move on from doing. Doesn't seem to make any difference. It's very strange. So also you can go to lab mode, and you can obviously use colours there. Now lab mode is lightness and A/B channels. If you go to the channels, you will notice window and channels, and that's another thing you can do with these custom shapes. So if you want to, now let's just clean that out. Fill, if I can use fill, I'm certain I can. Let's go for white. So it's just, yeah. What you can do, you can go to say A and B, and then use the custom shape there, the channels, and again window, channels there. And also you can go to the B channel and apply your custom shape there, and you can see the result there. And of course you can go for lightness as well, add it then, and add it on top of there. So you can use channels as well. Again, it will vary depending on the current mode. Now some, of course, do not have this. So if you go to the good old bitmap mode, you'll find the channels. So I go to Grayscale. Grayscale, you've only got one channel. That's it, obviously. So there are things with that. However, that's a quick run through. Just the reason I did this is someone asked me about, can you use custom shapes in different image modes? So I thought I will run through them and show you, yes, you can. Though clearly there are some odd issues at times where the thing doesn't work in the way you think it should. So it's, I wouldn't say it's perfect, but still at the same time, there are a lot of great use. And as I said, I think Bitmap is great if you get it to work. For some weird reason, it didn't seem like it was doing anything. So, very strange. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Always adding new tutorials all the time. So Photoshop, Illustrator, Critter, Infinity, all those things. Yeah, everything else like that. Also, if you've got any questions, comments, anything, sort of put some notes saying, why did it not work for you? Or maybe you could explain why it doesn't work sometimes. Always happy to read those sort of comments. And also, so I get some other ideas about how to work these things. And also, obviously, comments of what you found was good in it. Always great. A dislike or like, Thank you much.